Well, the images of outrage and cries of injustice have been going viral online since the shooting of 17-year-old Trayvon Martin. Images like this one, Martin Luther King Jr. in a hoodie. Also something now called Trayvoning. Pictures of people recreating his dead potty pose like this one with Skittles and iced tea. And then the debate about race. What if Trayvon were white and Zimmerman black? Would we have even cared about this shooting? Let's start with the image there of a switch in color, shall we say, of Trayvon and George. Constructive? Good thing, bad thing? Should we?
I find it to be very constructive because it sparks more conversation. As much as we don't want to say, or some people don't want to say that this is about race, putting it in a different perspective. Some people don't learn just by talking and us having a dialogue. Sometimes putting faces and colors up on a screen and looking at those images, it makes it plain for a lot of us, and we can say, oh, well, maybe something's a little bit different. So I think it's great because it continues this conversation, and hopefully will spark a resolution.
At first, actually, you didn't think it was a good idea. I kind of saw you go,
I mean, I don't like how much this trial has become about race, and I understand why it has, but you know, I look at it from a legal standpoint, and I look at self-defense, and I try not to see in the law. I look at the law on paper and in practice. And so I'm looking at self-defense and saying the self-defense law doesn't have anything to do with race. There's no, you know, there's nothing written in the law having to do with race. And so I look at it, I guess, more analytically, less about, you know, what the images that we're seeing.
But Ashley,
we definitely can't.
But really, every conversation starts eventually getting to what if.
Right.
What if Trayvon were white? What if George Zimmerman were black? It's a conversation that everybody's bringing up sooner or later. So I think these images bring it to life.
Right.
And what about MLK Jr., though, in a hoodie? Is that a little too much, or what do you think, Ryan?
We talked about this on my show this morning. You know, the civil rights movement, the people who are walking around today that are living this type of life, they don't understand that. They don't get it at all. If there's anything that's going to bring it to the forefront, if it's MLK, which they don't understand the black and white images, they don't understand that dogs were sicked on people, that fire hoses were turned on people. They don't get any of that, but they understand the legacy of Dr. King. I mean, he has a statue, he has a I Have a Dream speech. So if that's going to get people talking, hey, if Dr. King was nonviolent, which Trayvon was nonviolent, then why not have that image? I think it's a great idea.
The artist just tweeted me, by the way, of this image. Nicholas Wright wrote to me and said, the irony, many judge my art piece because of MLK's exterior and not the content of his character. Wow. Healing comes in seeing that. Wow. It's interesting. I see more of the hoodie than I do MLK in that image.
Right. I do too.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, what about this trend? It's called Trayvoning. And kids all across the country, some older than kids, all right, are putting these images out like this one here, posing as a dead Trayvon with iced tea and Skittles to the side. There's also a lot of kids out there that I'm not quite sure what their motive is. It looks like some are trying to be smartasses, others are trying to make a point. What do you guys all think about this?
I just hope that parents are taking this opportunity to speak with their children about the appropriate things that they need to be speaking with their children about, and not allowing their children to engage in this without having a discussion at home.
For sure.
With that.
This makes me very uncomfortable. I'll be honest
So
with you.
the Trayvoning is a totally different thing versus MLK Jr. in a hoodie.
Because I understand that, you know, a lot of times with Instagram and with social media, people are doing something to get likes, they're getting something to do retweets. Right. So if that's the motivation, then I totally disagree with it.
And you know what? I disagree with it primarily because this was the image that Trayvon Martin's mom walked out of the courtroom. She could not stand to look at it. It was very, it's very disturbing.
So it's disrespectful to the family who lost
I can't.
a young man.
I can't with that one.
All right, he may not have viral photos, but George Zimmerman does have his share of supporters as well. In June, he reportedly raised more than $77,000 on his website in just 1 week. So what do you guys all think of these trends? Go to hlntv.com/Zimmerman and weigh in.